Hey boys and girls, today I want to go through our a PowerPoint on weather. So we're starting today talking about weather and climate. That's how we're going to begin our weather unit. Okay, so these are just some words that you may see while we're talking about weather. There's a lot of patterns, temperature, conditions, lots of different things that you hear when we talk about weather. Let's keep moving down. All right, so the main thing that we need, or one thing we need to know, is weather is the condition of the Earth's atmosphere at any given time and place. So weather is what it is exactly right now. And we know, especially living here in North Carolina, that it can change a lot. Not just in a 24-hour period like it says, but goodness, it can change minute to minute. We've seen that lots of times. So weather is right now, weather, the condition of the atmosphere at a particular, like exact location, okay? Weather is caused by the direct result of energy from the sun. So the sun's rays hit Earth and the land, and it absorbs it unevenly. So you can see in this picture here, and we see the sun change its location in the sky through the day. That's what's causing our different seasons, where the sun is positioned towards us. So you can see here in this picture, the sun is directly here, but not necessarily here on the sides or in the other place. So when land is heated up unevenly, that uneven heating is going to cause the changes that happen in the weather. So things that we say when we're talking about weather, the main thing we say a lot is temperature. How hot is it? How cold is it? What's the temperature outside? A big part of weather is wind. Humidity, we hear that a lot around here, how humid it is outside. We'll talk about that more, but humidity is the amount of water in the air. Precipitation, that's how we talk about rain, sleet, snow, hail. Air pressure, we have high and low pressure. That's often talked about when you do watch a weather forecast, high and low pressure systems. And clouds. You can look at the clouds to predict the weather. So a lot of those things are included in weather. So to measure weather, we count on meteorologists, and that's a scientist who studies them. And they are collecting data to help us know more about our weather. You may have heard meteorologists say, this is the hottest hottest day we have on record since, you might hear them say 1982. They're keeping records all the time of our weather, how it changes, how it's similar to how it was, all of that. Okay, so the Earth's atmosphere is a layer of air that surrounds the Earth. Okay, now there are lots of layers, and we're going to see those layers. You've got a handout about those layers. Where weather happens is in the troposphere, and you're going to have a picture that kind of helps you see that. There are lots of atmospheres as you get farther and farther away from Earth. Okay, so right here, that's what that's talking about. There are 5 main layers. This is the troposphere, where we are and where our weather happens. So you can see as you get farther and farther and farther away what is out there. Weather is happening here, though. If you've ever been on an airplane, pilots will go above the clouds to get away from a storm, which is pretty cool. Okay. When we're talking about weather, temperature, how much heat there is, how warm the air is. We use that, or we measure that with a thermometer. That's how you measure your temperature too. Okay, the hottest temperature ever recorded was in Death Valley, California, 134 degrees. Crazy. All right, wind. Wind has so much to do with our weather. Because wind moves that air. Air is always moving from high pressure to low pressure. You may have heard when we're around here and we have hurricanes, they talk about how the pressure is dropping in that system. The lower the pressure, the more likely there is to be storms. So we say that low pressure is lousy weather, where you have storms. Okay, high pressure is most of the time happy weather. All right, you can measure wind speed with an anemometer. And we're going to try and do a little activity at home this week, if you guys can, to create our own anemometer. So the wind blows into those little cups, and you count how many times that moves around, and it tells you the wind speed. Wind direction. You can use a weather vane, wind vane. You might have seen some of these before. We actually have one here in our courtyard at school that I got for us. It looks just like this, actually. So it's going to tell you which way the wind is blowing, what direction. Humidity. Humidity is measured with a hygrometer. So that's easy to remember because they both start with H. And most of these instruments are an ometer of some sort. Okay, so that's how much water vapor is in the air. You'll hear people say like it feels wet outside, or you may see that your hair gets really crazy when it's humid outside. All right, your relative humidity, how much moisture is in the air and how much it can hold. Okay, precipitation. So there's always some moisture in the air, but when there's a lot, that water and moisture falls as precipitation. And it depends on the air temperature on what type of precipitation falls. Rain, snow, sleet, or hail. You might hear people say freezing rain for sleet. So it depends on how cold it is outside, or how cold the temperature is in the atmosphere when it comes down. So we can get hail in the summertime. It doesn't necessarily have to be cold outside. It just means how it is when it's in the atmosphere. You can measure precipitation in a rain gauge when it's rain. We're going to try and create one at home this week. Super simple. You can use pretty much anything. Takes 10 centimeters of snow to make a centimeter of rain. So that's just saying, there's a lot less precipitation in snow than there is rain. And you've felt snow before. It's very light. You've heard and seen dew. Dew is moisture in the air that cools off at night. It's on everything. So when it's cold and you say it's frosted outside, that is dew that's always there, but because it's cold, now it's frost. Okay, air pressure. That's the weight of the atmosphere pressing at a certain place. Air particles move, they get closer and farther apart. High air pressure brings warm, dry air. And low pressure brings rain or moisture. That's what we were saying. Low pressure is lousy. And I know this is a lot of information, but we're going to break it down after today. So don't worry about how much we're getting in your noggin right now. Okay. Air pressure can change quickly, just like when storms come, hurricanes. And we measure that with a barometer. Okay. Clouds. Clouds come in many shapes and forms. Sometimes they're low, sometimes they're high. But clouds are water vapor. Okay, cloud is water. There are 3 main types of clouds: cirrus, cumulus, and stratus. Cirrus are higher up, cumulus in the middle, stratus is down. A fog is a stratus cloud. So when we see fog in the morning, that's actually a cloud. Okay, we're going to talk about weather instruments tomorrow. Weather depends on your land elevation. You know, if you're at the top of a hill or a mountain and the bottom of the mountain, most likely the weather is going to be a little bit different because the atmosphere is a little bit different the higher you go up. Your location on the earth. How close are you to the equator? How close are you to the poles? Where are you in reference to the sun? And then what season are you in? That's going to influence your weather. All right. So this is just an overview of weather. And then we're going to break down for the next few days instruments, clouds, air pressure. We're going to break down each one. This was just a good overview of everything. So I hope that makes sense.